we should hear that the jet conveying President Buhari's body will be arriving Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Airport any moment from now, especially now that President Bola Tinubu, who is set to receive that body, is now on the ground in Kastina.
Indeed, this is part of the highlight as the federal government has announced that President Bola Tinubu himself will be the one to receive the body of the late former leader and the former president, Muhammadu Buhari. This signifies the height of the state burial right as being approved and giving an honor of the man who served Nigeria not only once, not twice, or 3 times. He's gotten the opportunity to serve as a military head of state for 20 months. Thereafter, he was years later elected in 2015, and the man who defeated an incumbent, a feat that is very rare in our politics, and thereon went for re-election in 2019, serving Nigeria in those capacities. And now he died in a London clinic on Sunday and is now due for burial. And part of the honor due to him is what the federal government has declared a public holiday today, and the receiving of his body by the #1 citizen, the president himself, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And this is a process we're seeing right now. The salute. This is not the death of just a leader, it's the death of a general, the death of the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and a man who led not only the soldiers, led battalions, led Nigeria in times of trouble. The man who says he was going to be on the ground in the war front and relocate the command and control center. The man who said he's going to change the scheme of things in terms of anti-corruption war, insecurity in Nigeria, and also bring glory to our economy. He made those promises in his campaigns. He served Nigeria from 2015 to 2023 as a democratically elected president. He called himself as a converted Democrat. And this is a time the nation is honoring him. And the federal government is leading the charge right now. And we're seeing live pictures right from the Yar'Adua International Airport in Kastina.
Yeah, we use it.
I've always been in Abuja. Except they have changed that. The cops are supposed to arrive this week. They bring the body down. So they will motorcade to pass fire station and join the ambulance. Where are these junctions? Where are these junctions? chaos will happen. Everybody will carry the country.
From the Umar Musa Eredwa Airport in Kastina State. And the pictures you see there are of the Guards Brigade, who had just given a salute. They had sang the national anthem and given a salute to President Bola Tinubu, who has now arrived at the airport in preparation to receive the body of late President Buhari, who passed on in a clinic in London. We understand that he will be on, the body should be arriving any moment now, brought by Vice President Kashim Shettima. We did tell you earlier that delegations are on the ground, international delegations, including that from Niger, neighboring Niger, which arrived earlier. And then also the governors have also arrived alongside all the traditional rulers. Very prominent among those who had arrived is Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who served as Vice President with President Muhammadu Buhari from 2015 to 2023. Hopefully any moment now, our cameras will be trained once more on the tarmac where the aircraft should be arriving any moment from now. But the pictures you're seeing are those of the soldiers who had earlier given a salute. We will be bringing you a full and comprehensive coverage. We have been speaking on the life and times of President Muhammadu Buhari, how he was perceived, those who have worked with him, those who knew him personally from his days in the military, those who served with him as a military leader, those who also served with him as a democratically elected leader. It would seem that they had certainly very different experiences of him, and they have been sharing some of them with us. But please do stay tuned here. We'll be bringing you those pictures. Any moment now, we're expecting that aircraft, which will have on board Vice President Kashim Shettima, who was directed. Okay, now we understand that Vice President Kashim Shettima has already arrived. It's a separate aircraft, it would seem.
Well, I imagine so. Because on this particular arrival that we've been watching, is also the former Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. The Vice President Kashim Shettima, we also understand, is landed. But well, the most personality, the personality that people will mostly be looking forward to is the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Bola Tinubu, who is going to be giving all the compliment of honor by the military, who are on guard not only to pay their final respect to the former general, to the former President, Muhammadu Buhari, but the President, Bola Tinubu, is here also on behalf of the nation to give the last respect and honor the man who led the country before him, his predecessor in office. And I imagine that they might be at the airport until the body arrives, and the late president body comes, we understand, is arriving at the international airport just about now. And perhaps the breaking news, so we're bringing to you right now, and you will perhaps be seeing the pictures any moment from now. We do understand now that a body of the late president, former president, Muhammadu Buhari, has arrived at the Yereduwa International Airport. And on ground is the President, Bola Tinubu, alongside his Vice President, Kashim Shettima, a former Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, and cabinet, senior members of the cabinet who are on ground to receive, of course, Governor Diko Rada is on the ground alongside a lot of state officials and authorities who are there to receive him. The body will be moved to Daura for burial after receiving military farewell at the airport. It's a military farewell, and all of the military rites and the rituals that goes on when you lose or pay your last respect to a former general, a former leader in this regard.
Indeed, Sean. Well, that certainly will explain the clustering that we're seeing of people on the tarmac We had said earlier that we're going to be seeing any moment now the arrival of that plane, but somehow it doesn't appear that we caught that. But we can see clearly that there are more aircraft on the ground, and we can see a clustering there.
The one you're saying actually, which just arrived moments earlier, a moment ago, is the body, the aircraft that conveyed the body, which was accompanied by Vice President Senator Kashim Shettima and the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, and some family members of the late former President, Muhammadu Buhari. And the story that we can tell you right here is that that aircraft landed at the runway of the Yerodua International Airport at about 1:59 p.m. Governor Diko Rada of Kastina State and members of the State Executive Council, including Deputy Senate President Senator Buhari and other important personalities, were on the ground to receive the corpse, escorted by Vice President Senator Kashim Shettima, Chief of Staff to the President Femi Gbajabiamila, and some family members of the late former President. The chief mourner today is President Bola Tinubu.
Still right there for you at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Airport, trained on that clustering of people there, which clearly shows that perhaps they're trying to retrieve the body from the aircraft. At any moment now, the military rights, the last military rights will be given to President Muhammadu Buhari. Any moment now, we should see that ceremony underway. But we have now been informed very reliably that the body has arrived the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Airport. What we should be seeing now is that body being retrieved and the state rights commencing any moment now. Seun, you know, sometimes when you're expecting a thing, you have to be very careful. You know, you're relying on the visuals that you can see from the studio, and also the reports of your correspondent on the ground. We had been saying that we're expecting the body to arrive. Clearly, that is the body right there. Would appear from what we can see here on our screen, relying on the reports of our correspondent. Vice President Kashim Shettima, as directed, has retrieved the body, and he is on the ground alongside the body of President Muhammadu Buhari.
Yes, indeed. On the arrival, the latest arrival of the aircraft on that tarmac is Senator Kashim Shettima, the lead delegate. On the order of President Bola Tinubu, as soon as the news of the death of the President Muhammadu Buhari was announced, and is since gone there, and we know that the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, is a former Speaker of the House, and alongside Governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Zulum, were on the ground in London, and here we've seen the termination of their presidential directive.
Indeed. To
get the body back home. And that has been done and delivered. Now, as that has been done, that happened right on the dot of 1:59 p.m. local time, right there at the Kastina Airport. And as that has been done, on hand is President Bola Tinubu, alongside very eminent Nigerians, including the former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, top and senior members of the Federal Cabinet, Governor Diko Rada of Kastina State, and members of the State Executive Council in Kastina, including also very senior politicians from Abuja, Deputy Senate President Senator Buhari, among other important personalities and governors who were on ground to receive the body, which was escorted by the Vice President Kashim Shettima and the Chief of Staff to the President Femi Gbajabiamila. And
so
of course, some family members are on the ground too.
Indeed. Well, we could see earlier visuals of a vehicle approaching an aircraft, which is behind this aircraft that was used by President Tinubu. I mean, clearly, cameras will not be allowed to go too close, perhaps for security reasons. And this is President Tinubu's aircraft, who is still a serving president. So clearly, there will be boundaries as to where it is that our cameras can get to. But the pictures that you're seeing shows you a clustering of people.
The sobering fact that no matter how long we stay, we will go as humans, but what you remain, what you leave behind is what will be a testament of your lifetime. We've been speaking to Dr. Korede, but let me bring in the man who, had his experience as a young man, Dr. Sanusi, with him, and, the legacies of his administration politically.
Harry traveled down to Nigeria. You can see that's the Nigerian Air Force. In the colors of Nigeria, dignitaries waiting on the tarmac, waiting to receive that body and pay their last respects to the late President late President Muhammadu Buhari. So many presidents to be mentioning at the same time, especially since they're at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Airport, who was also a former president of Nigeria. But dignitaries right there on the tarmac, the visuals that you can see. Any moment from now, the ceremonies will commence, and myself and Shehu will have to be quiet for a moment to let you take in all that is happening at the airport, because it will happen. A lot of the state activities will be happening right there at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Airport.
Indeed, a momentous occasion in the life of our nation, the passing of one of Nigeria's longest-serving leader, Muhammadu Buhari, born in his hometown of Daura, Kastina State. And, of course, this man served in the Nigerian military, became a military ruler, and was ousted in a military coup in 1983. 85 rather, yeah. By the then military leader, Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, and went on after the return to democracy, tried to becoming president. 3 times he failed, and on the 4th time he won the election after trying 3 times without luck. In 2015, not only that he was lucky, but also that he defeated an incumbent, which is a rare feat in African or Nigerian politics for years. Now, we can see the arrival right there of family members of the Buhari family who arrived alighting from the Nigerian Air Force aircraft. This is the one that was taken to bring the body back home. And, of course, lots of people, loads of people right there receiving. Interestingly, this airport is named after another son of Kastina, who died in office in 2010, late Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, who then was afterwards his vice president Goodluck Jonathan took over and went ahead to win an election in 2011, served, and re-election was when another son of Kastina now defeated him and became president for 8 years. Is the predecessor to the sitting President Bola Tinubu, of the same political party, a party that we emerged in 2013 in a merger that culminated into final announcement in 2014, ran for election and won the election in 2015, and the same party has now won election 3 consecutive times.
Well, Sharon, the late president clearly was a picture, a lesson in resilience, never giving up. And the fact that you continue to, highlight that, the fact that he ran 4 times, only clinching office at the 4th attempt, which is many more than a lot of people who would have tried. But clearly, there's any lesson that he's left to us is that he was a real Nigerian in every sense of the word, because if there's anything Nigerians are known for, it is their resilience, isn't it, Mr. Konde?
And their persistence, and, clearly it's also a very strong lesson in the power of collaboration, and partnership. The only way it was possible in 2015 was to have that handshake across the Niger between Buhari, who had those captive votes in the north, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whose party was controlling 6 states in the southwest. And eventually, as we remember, some other new PDP parties, governors also joined. So it's the lesson of collaboration. It just shows that whenever we are united in this country, we can get a lot of things done.
When our cameras trained on that Nigerian Air Force jet that has just landed, it landed at 1:59 p.m. local time at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Airport, bearing the body of late President Muhammadu Buhari. Any moment now, we should be seeing that body being brought out of the aircraft. But what we are seeing, highlighting from the aircraft, people who traveled on the Nigerian delegation to bring home that body, members of the family and other Nigerians, other very important dignitaries who are currently coming down the aircraft. We can see right there amongst them. I'm trying my best to look very clearly so Sheun doesn't accuse me, but if my eyes serve me well, I would say that is Oluremi Tinubu welcoming and comforting the widow of the late president. Aisha Buhari seems to be the one in the middle right there. In mourning, in deep mourning, you can see she's covered, perhaps in respect for her husband, and also in the right. She's flanked also by other family members. But right beside her is Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu. You can also see other mourners right behind them, some of them dabbing at their eyes to tell you the solemnity, the solemn occasion of this particular historic moment we're witnessing. We can see other people climbing up that plane, perhaps to go and retrieve the body. And what we can see are Nigeria's military, members of the Nigerian military service.
The body perhaps will be in
the cargo slot.
In the cargo slot.
Indeed.
We don't know.
In the cargo hold of the plane.
We don't know. We don't know what might be, because it's also a presidential jet. There could have been some arrangement, because don't forget that there's a portion of that jet where it's reserved for the president, the cabin inside the plane. They could put it there, as a mark of honor. But hey, it could also be in the cargo. But I don't also assume that it could be in the cargo.
Yeah, well, we see them going into the jet. If it were in the cargo hold, we should be seeing them at the bottom of the jet, where it is that they would bring out the body
just
from.
Just imagining, logistically speaking, whether or not the body will fit in that posture, and how easy is it to carry such from the passenger
exit. Because apparently seeing all those uniformed people going in there will suggest
that's the task.
Yeah, but certainly there's a space that the body can fit in the cabin. There's a presidential small suite right there, where it can sit there. But we're going to find out what's happening here.
Yeah. So this is a final presidential flight of President Muhammadu Buhari. As touch base back home where he started his journey of life.
Yeah, and I don't think we've had anything of this experience, even when President Yar'Adua died. I'm not sure that we had this elaborate, show of. So we don't know what to compare it with, because I don't imagine how they're going to go in there and be able to do the military steps with those stairways. It looks rather tight.
Yeah, it looks difficult. Yeah. And I'm wondering
but
the
crowd
control and absolutely. Don't forget this. If you look at almost everyone on that tarmac, they are important dignitaries, eminent Nigerians as much as. And this is I remember covering the burial rites of the former president who died in office, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, in office. He was a chaotic scene, albeit the kind of mood the nation was in. And I could remember the pictures that came out of the presidential villa that year. And you could see the people, the mourners, those family members who were arriving when the word came out that the president had died. in office. So this is a bit different, though, because he didn't die in office. And he's way older. And of course, the only difference that we will see, or what is similar, is that there are two sons of Kastina, and they're going to be buried in Kastina. But for a moment, the 82-year-old former President Muhammadu Buhari has traveled his last, and his body being conveyed in an aircraft. He traveled for several years and done his last flight and touched down on the tarmac for the very last time, onward journey to his final resting place in Daura, his place of birth. Is indeed very, very instructive. The circle of life, Wole Soyinka has described it. Well, you go back to how you literally come from as a human being. One more time, this respect will be given to him. A place of his origin is going to be his place of final commitment to Mother Earth.
I think it's called a challenge for the uniformed men because I don't think they've ever had any kind of rehearsal.
It will be a tough one. Lalu, this, like I said, you have the president was this. It was a 6-footer. So that body and trying to get it out from the passenger exit point is going to be a logistic and technical nightmare for them, I imagine.
And if they got it in, they'll get it out.
They'll get it, of course. I imagine so.
If they got it in, they'll get it out, and they'll get it out in as much a dignified way as they possibly can manage.
Yeah, I don't think in London they had all of this focus. You get, possibly the Nigerian military weren't even in London. I don't imagine they had the kind of personnel here in Abuja as they would do in London. But certainly this is quite unprecedented because, they are trying to give the military honors. That's why you see all those naval officers and those uniformed men, try to do their military steps, out of the aircraft with his body. And it's going to be quite a bit of a scene to see.
To imagine that the president, Muhammadu Buhari, has been out of public eyes since April. Now, in fact, in Nigeria, we understand that he traveled for the medical attention in April this year, and April, May, June, and now July, he died. And so it's being, you heard what the former military leader said, Abdulsalami Abubakar, who said they were admitted into the same hospital for medical attention, and now he got out, but the former president didn't. Now, what we're saying now, pictures, live pictures, of course, right on the tarmac of the Yorodua International Airport in Kastina.
You can imagine what is.
Bonjour à tous, je m'appelle Pascal, je viens de l'Impôt solaire. Aujourd'hui, nous présentons le système de batterie au lithium 5 kWh.
Imagine, and it's going to be who we carry, who is not to touch, who to touch, and it's a battle between who owns this body.
There's no dispute.
No. So
there's no dispute.
So get me right. What I mean is that Buhari is now, for a lot of people, he has so many parts. The military, the Nigerian state, the Kastina authorities, the federal government, the family. So it's going to be a role that a lot of people would like to play.
Yeah, but
so that's why I say it's a battle, because everyone wants to have their own feel of action. Don't forget, you were the one who reminded us how everyone wants to have a feel of the late Yorodua.
But at this point, we did say that the body is the property of the Nigerian government.
And
at this point, he's coming out now. So here we see live pictures of the body of late President Buhari, Muhammadu Buhari, being conveyed down that Nigerian Air Force aircraft. It wasn't in the cargo hold, it was in the cabin of that Nigerian Air Force aircraft, and is being brought down, draped in the Nigerian flag by officials of the Nigerian military. It's been brought down very solemnly, very respectfully, very dignified, in the most dignified manner, down the stairwell of this aircraft to the waiting reception of dignitaries on the ground. Amongst them is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who arrived moments earlier, just in time to receive the body of the late president. These are live pictures coming to you from the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Airport in Kastina State.
I think it's good to point out at this point that it's a thing of dignity that they put the body inside the cabin, not in the cargo hold.
Mm-hmm.
That's
also one of the things that for those who, I remember when the former governor of Ondo State died, and transporting bodies, usually the size of the aircraft with the timing. So some aircraft we cannot take bodies within the passenger sitting area.
We can see, who can we see there? Sean, sorry to interrupt you, but I think we can see some dignitaries already leaving the foot of the aircraft, perhaps approaching towards where President...
Imagine that the Governor Diko
Rada would have been at the foot of the aircraft, but clearly they will be approaching or going straight now to meet President...
members of the Presidential Special Committee for the burial of the former president.
And that would mean that the body has been deposited in the car.
In a vehicle.
Yeah.
And they're making their way to where the official ceremonies will take place, because we know that that flag, there's a military farewell that would take place for the body paying their last respects. We know that that flag that was draped over the coffin will have to be folded very carefully and given to the Buhari family as a mark of gratitude for the life of service that President Muhammadu Buhari, give to this country, both as military head of state and also as one of the civilian president elected. You can see the military chiefs are there. You can see Oluyede, who's the chief of army staff. I believe that also the General C.J. Musa will also be the chief of defense staff. But we can see very clearly by his build. I'm trying to make out people by the build. But we can see, yes, that the bottom of the aircraft is gently being declustered. People seem to be making their way to where the final rites will be taking place. The military farewell will be given to the military respects being paid to the body of late President Muhammadu Buhari.
Muhammadu Buhari, a soldier, a statesman, a symbol, in every sense, a leader that can never be undermined in our political history. The man who commanded a minimum of 12 million votes in different elections, who went on to increase that margin to 15 million, 15.5 in the first being president, 15.3 in the return. Born 17 December 1942 in his hometown of Dara, Kastina State. Was military head of state in 1983 to 1985 after overthrowing the Shigari's civilian government. He was democratically elected president in 2015 and again got a re-election in 2019. And they said anti-corruption, security, and infrastructure development were going to be his major focus as a president. He died in London clinic on Sunday, and now his body has been brought right back into his hometown, his home state of Kastina. And President Bola Tinubu, who is leading the charge in the final burial rites for him, the federal government, led by him, has declared a public holiday today, and since declared a 7-day mourning, and Nigerian flags to be flown at half-staff. Through this period of mourning, the state government in Kastina, the traditional rulers, the Buhari family, the Nigerian government of all sat into mourning, and to give the last respect to the man who is the second longest serving leader in Nigeria's modern political history.
So we had seen earlier pictures of a cluttering around that Nigerian Air Force aircraft, but it does appear that that crowd is now moving to the foot of the aircraft which brought in President Tinubu earlier. It's unclear how that is going to proceed, but we can see the red carpet laid out.
The body has now been brought for military farewell, taken out of the aircraft. Now, what we're going to be seeing right now is the sort of farewell, the sort of honor a military general gets, a military leader gets, and very unique, not only for a military leader, but also for a leader of the nation. Someone who's commanded the Nigerian military, someone who was also the commander on the ground as a soldier. So you see that.
You can see the body. Yes.
Wrapped in the Nigerian colors.
We not get one single shot.